Cuniculture is the agricultural practice of breeding and raising domestic rabbits as livestock for their meat, fur, or wool. Cuniculture is also employed by rabbit fanciers and hobbyists in the development and betterment of rabbit breeds and the exhibition of those efforts. Scientists practice cuniculture in the use and management of rabbits as model organisms in research. Cuniculture has been practiced all over the world since at least the 5th century. Outside of the exhibition circles, rabbit raising remained a small-scale, but persistent household and farm endeavor, in many locations unregulated by the rules that governed the production of larger livestock. With the ongoing urbanization of populations worldwide, rabbit raising gradually declined, but saw resurgences in both Europe and North America during World War II, in conjunction with victory gardens. Eventually, farmers across Europe, and in the United States, began to approach cuniculture with the same scientific principles as had already been applied to the production of grains, poultry, and hoofed livestock. National agriculture breeding stations were established to improve local rabbit strains, and to introduce more productive breeds. National breeding centers focused on developing strains for production purposes, including meat, pelts, and wool. These gradually faded from prominence in the United States, but remained viable longer in Europe. Meanwhile, rabbit raising for local markets gained prominence in developing nations as an economical means of producing protein. Various aid agencies promote the use of rabbits as livestock. The animals are particularly useful in areas where women are limited in employment outside the household, because rabbits can be kept successfully in small areas. These same factors have contributed to the increased popularity of rabbits as backyard livestock among locavers and homesteaders in more developed countries in North America and Europe. The addition of rabbits to the watch list of endangered heritage breeds that is kept by the Livestock Conservancy has also led to increased interest from livestock conservationists. In contrast, throughout Asia, and particularly in China, rabbits are increasingly being raised and sold for export around the world. The World Rabbit Science Association, formed in 1976, was established to facilitate in all possible ways the exchange of knowledge and experience among persons in all parts of the world who are contributing to the advancement of the various branches of the rabbit industry. Approximately 1.2 billion rabbits are slaughtered each year for meat worldwide. In more recent years, and in some countries, cuniculture has come under pressure from animal rights activists on several fronts. The use of animals, including rabbits, in scientific experiments, has been subject to increased scrutiny in developed countries. Increasing regulation has raised the cost of producing animals for this purpose, and made other experimental options more attractive. Other researchers have abandoned investigations that required animal models. Meanwhile, various rescue groups under the House Rabbit Society umbrella have taken an increasingly strident stance against any breeding of rabbits, even as food in developing countries, on the grounds that it contributes to the number of mistreated, unwanted, or abandoned animals. The growth of homesteaders and smallholders has led to the rise of visibility of rabbit raisers in geographic areas where they have not been previously present. This has led to zoning conflicts over the regulation of butchering and waste management. Conflicts have also risen with House Rabbit Society organizations as well as ethical vegetarians and vegans concerning the use of rabbits as meat and fur animals, rather than as pets. Conversely, many homesteaders cite concern with animal welfare and intensive farming of beef, pork, and poultry as a significant factor in choosing to raise rabbits for meat. The specific future direction of cuniculture is unclear, but does not appear to be in danger of disappearing in any particular part of the world. The variety of applications, as well as the versatile utility of the species, appears sufficient to keep rabbits raising a going concern in one aspect or another around the planet. Rabbits have been raised for meat production in a variety of settings around the world. Smallholder backyard operations remain common in many countries, while large-scale commercial operations are centered in Europe and Asia. For the smaller enterprise, multiple local rabbit breeds may be easier to use. Many local, rustico, landrace, or other heritage-type breeds may be used only in a specific geographic area. Subpar cull animals from other breeding goals, laboratory, exhibition, show, wool, or pet, may also be used for meat, particularly in smallholder operations. Counterintuitively, the giant rabbit breeds are rarely used for meat production, due to their extended growth rates, which lead to high feed costs, and their large bone size, which reduces the percentage of their weight that is usable meat. Dwarf breeds, too, are rarely used, due to the high production costs, slow growth, and low offspring rate. In contrast to the multitude of breeds and types used in smaller operations, breeds such as the New Zealand and the Californian, along with hybrids of these breeds, are most frequently utilized for meat in commercial rabbitries. The primary qualities of good meat rabbit breeding stock are growth rate and size of slaughter, but also good mothering ability. Specific lines of commercial breeds have been developed that maximize these qualities. Rabbits may be slaughtered as early as 7 weeks, and dozens of these strains routinely raise litters of 8 to 12 kits. Other breeds of rabbit developed for commercial meat production include the Florida White and the Alltex. Rabbit breeding stock raised in France is particularly popular with meat rabbit farmers internationally, some being purchased as far away as China, in order to improve the local rabbit herd. Larger-scale operations attempt to maximize income by balancing land use, labor required, animal health, and investment in infrastructure. Specific infrastructure and strain qualities depend on the geographic area. An operation in an urban area may emphasize odor control and space utilization by stacking cages over each other, with automatic cleaning systems that flush away feces and urine. In rural subtropical and tropical areas, temperature control becomes more of an issue, and the use of air-conditioned buildings is common in many areas. Breeding schedules for rabbits vary by individual operation. Prior to the development of modern balanced rabbit rations, rabbit breeding was limited by the nutrition available to the doe. Without adequate calories and protein, the doe would either not be fertile, would abort or resorb the fetuses during pregnancy, or would deliver small numbers of weak kits. Under these conditions, a doe would be rebred only after weaning her last litter, when the kits reached the age of 2 months. This allowed for a maximum of 4 litters per year. Advances in nutrition, such as those published by the USDA Rabbit Research Station, resulted in greater health for breeding animals and the survival of young stock. Likewise, offering superior, balanced nutrition to grown kits allowed for better health and less illness among slaughter animals. Current practices include the option of rebreeding the doe within a few days of delivery, closely matching the behavior of wild rabbits during the spring and early summer, when forage availability is at its peak. This can result in up to 8 or more litters annually. A doe of ideal meat stock genetics can produce 5 times her body weight in fryers a year. Criticism of the more intensive breeding schedules has been made on the grounds that rebreeding that closely is excessively stressful for the doe. Determination of health effects of breeding schedules is made more difficult by the domestic rabbit's reproductive physiology. In contrast to several other mammal species, rabbits are more likely to develop uterine cancer when not used for breeding than when bred frequently. In efficient production systems, rabbits can turn 20% of the proteins they eat into edible meat, compared to 22 to 23% for broiler chickens, 16 to 18% for pigs, and 8 to 12% for beef. Rabbit meat is more economical in terms of feed energy than beef. Rabbit fryers are rabbits that are between 70 and 90 days old, weighing 1.5 to 2.5 kilograms, 3-5 pounds, and live weight. Rabbit roasters are rabbits from 90 days to 6 months old, weighing 2.5-3.5 kilograms, 5-8 pounds, and live weight. Rabbit stewers are rabbits 6 months or older, weighing over 3.5 kilograms, 8 pounds. Dark fryers typically garner a lower price than white fryers because of the slightly darker tinge to the meat. Purely pink carcasses are preferred by most consumers. Dark fryers are also harder to dehydrate, skin, than white fryers. In the United States, white fryers garner the highest prices per pound of live weight. In Europe, however, a sizable market remains for the dark fryers that come from older Arger rabbits. In the kitchen, dark fryers are typically prepared differently from white fryers. In 1990, the world's annual production of rabbit meat was estimated to be 1.5 million tons. In 2014, the number was estimated at 2 million tons. China is among the world's largest producers and consumers of rabbit meat, accounting for some 30% of the world's total consumption. Within China itself, rabbits are raised in many provinces, with most of the rabbit meat, about 70% of the national production, equaling some 420,000 tons annually, being consumed in the Sichuan Basin, where it is particularly popular. However, since the American Fuzzy Lop and Jersey Woolly are both dwarf breeds, only the much larger Angora breeds such as the English Angora, Satin Angora, Giant Angora, and French Angora are used for commercial wool production. Their long fur is sheared, combed, or plucked and then spun into yarn used to make a variety of products. Angora sweaters can be purchased in many clothing stores, and is generally mixed with other types of wool. In 2010, 70% of Angora rabbit wool was produced in China. Rabbit wool, generically called Angora, is 5 times warmer than sheep's wool. A number of rabbit breeds have been developed with the fur trade in mind. Breeds such as the Rex, Satin, and Chinchilla are often raised for their fur. Each breed has fur characteristics and all have a wide range of colors and patterns. Fur rabbits are fed a diet especially balanced for fur production, and the pelts are harvested when they have reached prime condition. Rabbit fur is widely used throughout the world. China imports much of its fur from Scandinavia, 80%, and some from North America, 5%, according to the USDA. Rabbits have been, and continue to be used in laboratory work such as production of antibodies for vaccines and research of human male reproductive system toxicology. Experiments with rabbits date back to Louis Pasteur's work in France in the 1800s. In 1972, around 450,000 rabbits were used for experiments in the United States, decreasing to around 240,000 in 2006. The Environmental Health Perspective, published by the National Institute of Health, states, the rabbit is an extremely valuable model for studying the effects of chemicals or other stimuli on the male reproductive system. According to the Humane Society of the United States, rabbits are also used extensively in the study of asthma, stroke prevention treatments, cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and cancer. Rabbit cultivation intersects with research in two ways. First, the keeping and raising of animals for testing of scientific principles. Some experiments require the keeping of several generations of animals treated with a particular drug in order to fully appreciate the side effects of that drug. There is also the matter of breeding and raising animals for experiments. The New Zealand White is one of the most commonly used breeds for research and testing. Specific strains of the New Zealand White have been developed, with differing resistance to disease and cancers. Additionally, some experiments call for the use of specific pathogen-free animals, which require specific husbandry and intensive hygiene. Animal rights activists generally oppose animal experimentation for all purposes, and rabbits are no exception. The use of rabbits for the Draize test, which is used for, amongst other things, testing cosmetics on animals, has been cited as an example of cruelty in animal research. Albino rabbits are typically used in the Draize tests because they have less tear flow than other animals, and the lack of eye pigment make the effects easier to visualize. Modern methods for housing domestic rabbits vary from region to region around the globe, and by type of rabbit, technological or financial opportunities and constraints, intended use, number of animals kept, and the particular preferences of the owner or farmer. Various goals include maximizing number of animals per land unit, especially common in areas with high land values or small living areas, minimizing labor, reducing cost, increasing survival and health of animals, and meeting specific market requirements, such as for clean wool, or rabbits raised on pasture. Not all of these goals are complementary. Where the keeping of rabbits has been regulated by governments, specific requirements have been put in place. Various industries also have commonly accepted practices which produce predictable results for that type of rabbit product.